And Stan, Midna, looking at you derailing our stream like a certain Italian meatball. Just like Nicholas Guerrero. Alright, so let's get started now, for real. Alright.
Back in 2022, TYT covered a story involving a transgender streamer named Clara Sorrenti, who goes by Keffals. Now, at the time, she had alleged that she had been violently swatted by anti-trans harassers on a platform called Kiwi Farms.
Now,
many elements to the story ended up being false.
Okay, now don't forget, she has changed that story or added to that story 4 times. 4 times. She has either changed up the story or added to it. 4 times.
And we unwittingly helped her promote her fraudulent crowdfunding effort. Now, a streamer by the name of Muta investigated Keffals and provided the receipts indicating that she is in fact a fraud. It is a lengthy video and he gets into other issues with Keffals.
Shout out Muta. Yeah, finally somebody says Mutahar's name right. Go figure. Finally somebody can say his name.
That I'm not going to get into because we didn't talk about those other issues. But if you want to watch that video, and I highly recommend you do, you can watch it on his YouTube channel, Some Ordinary Gamers. We will also link to it in the description box. Now let's actually get into the nitty-gritty. Now, after she had been swatted, and by the way, she was swatted. That's the one thing that is true. But after she had been swatted, she launched a GoFundMe on August 9th of 2022 to raise money after the incident. And it's important to outline exactly what she claimed she was doing with the money, why she was raising the money.
And it's funny that money was gone by October. Just saying. That money was gone by October. Funny how that worked, right?
How she was going to use the money. Let's watch.
The video was posted alongside a GoFundMe with the stated intent of helping Clara recoup her losses, move immediately, and build a legal fund to protect her rights. It received widespread media attention, bringing in over $100,000 in donations.
So, just to review, the money she raised, according to the GoFundMe page, was meant to help her move immediately for her own safety after she had been swatted, recoup her losses of electronic devices that she said the cops had seized.
That she got back 3 days later. Or, well, actually probably less than 3 days because of the dates that Mutahar showed and everything. But she got back. She got those back, FYI.
That they've taken from her. And also sue the London Police Service in Ontario, Canada, where the swatting happened, and to protect her rights, which she reiterated in a later stream.
My lawyer today, and it's looking like January is the month where I'm going to be filing against the London Police Service.
But she lied about...
You know what's funny? The money was gone by the time she was saying that. 12/23, my birthday, oh my God. 12/23/2022. When Keffals was saying that, the money was already gone. Bruh.
Month where I'm going to be filing against the London Police Service.
But she lied about the nature of the swatting itself, and we don't know what she did with the money. Okay, well, we have an idea of what she did with the money based on some of her own admissions, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. And based on her own admission, she did not use the money that she crowdfunded for the intended purposes. Now, going back to the swatting, she had complained, or she had claimed, that she woke up with the Canadian police pointing a gun to her head. She said that's how the swatting incident went down. She later changed that story and said that the police were banging on her door, and she had to put clothes on to answer the door as they were banging on it. Let's take a look.
On August 5th, I was woken up by London Police Services pointing an assault rifle in my face.
She lied to everyone. And I am loving the fact that finally she's getting called out for it. She's finally getting called out for it. And I love it. I absolutely love it. This is amazing.
At my home. When I was woken up by police officers and saw the assault rifle pointed at me, I thought I was going to die. I feel traumatized.
Her story then changed to an encounter in the hallway. The exact phrasing is that she went into the hallway and then saw the weapon.
The email, Sorrenti says, had given out her real address and resulted in police with guns at her doorstep and her being arrested.
When I went into the hallway and then saw that assault rifle, I screamed and I thought I was going to die.
She's such a bad liar, she can't keep her lie straight. Because remember when she turned around and said, oh yeah, they let me put my clothes on? Come on now.
Later, she admitted that they didn't enter her apartment until after she was in custody.
They did not go into my apartment until after I was in custody.
Then how did you wake up with a gun in your face? How did you wake up with a gun in your face? How? And the sad thing is she had such a momentum at this point, nobody could really say anything because they would lose their platform because she harbors false flaggers. Because that's what they do over there. That's exactly what they do over there. They love false flagging people. They love taking people's platforms. They brag about it.
A gun to her head, to changing the story and then changing it back. She changed the story to, no, I met the police outside in the hallway and they didn't enter my apartment until later. And then she went back to, claiming that she was afraid for her life. I mean, and remember, Keffals had gone so far as to claim that she was a victim of police brutality and even had the audacity to compare herself to Elijah McClain, who was killed after an interaction with cops.
Yeah, literally. She compared herself to Elijah McClain. How dare she? How dare she?
That was the story where emergency workers then showed up and injected him with ketamine, and it was just awful, awful story. She compared herself to him, okay? She wrote on Twitter back on September 25th of 2022, every time I see another story involving an innocent black man being killed by the police, I think back to last month when I had an assault rifle pointed at me by the police and how easily that situation could have escalated if I wasn't white. I hope Elijah McClain finds justice.
That's so gross. That's so gross that she even tweeted that out. She apparently doesn't have anybody around her that goes, that's not a good idea. She is completely surrounded by people who are delusional like her. Because she's delusional. She's absolutely delusional.
She also alleged that the police confiscated her computer and other electronic devices that she relied on for her livelihood, for her streaming income. But her devices were actually returned shortly after the swatting incident happened. And she discusses that in the clip you're about to watch.
I started a GoFundMe to move immediately, recoup my losses, and build a legal fund to protect my rights.
But there were no losses to recoup. The devices were returned after 3 days.
I eventually got my stuff back in like 3 days and got an apology from the chief of police.
So what'd you need the GoFundMe money for then? You got your stuff back.
So if you didn't need the money to pay for new devices for your streaming, what did you use the money for? We're gonna get to that in a bit. So she said that she fled Canada for the UK for her own safety, so Kiwi Farms wouldn't be able to find her.
Okay, when you get swatted, okay, guess where the safest place for you to be? In the place you got swatted. Because the cops already know that it was a swatting, that it was fake. That is actually the safest place for you to be. It had nothing to do with Kiwi Farms.
So she could pay for her moving expenses because she was afraid for her safety due to Kiwi Farms. But that actually wasn't the case. So what was the case? Let's watch.
The truth is, I left the country because of my ex and because I was scared of my ex. Because my ex was abusive and abused me emotionally and yelled at me and consistently coerced me into sex.
So you literally lied to your donors. You purposely lied to everyone.
That's why I left, but I couldn't tell anyone.
No one should believe anything she's saying. No one should take what she says at face value. She's a con artist. She is a liar. And I have no idea what her ex was like or how her ex treated her. I'm just saying that because you should be very suspicious of any claim coming out of this woman's mouth.
Yes.
She is a brazen liar. And we've got more proof of that. So now we know that that the money that she raised to move for her own safety following the swatting due to transphobes was actually used for a different purpose. At some point, she alleged that she succeeded in getting Kiwi Farms taken down from the internet. And while that may have been true for a very, very short period of time, that wasn't actually the case. Kiwi Farms is up and running, stronger than ever. And she refused to accept that and acknowledge that. That's a small...
Remember when Miss Brianna Wu was like, yeah, I was all for it. Remember Brianna Wu? And it was really weird. On Now Recording, when Brianna Wu was like... yeah, and I was, she was able to do what we did. No, she was able to do what we wanted to do. No, she didn't. No, she didn't, Brianna. It was down for like an inconvenience. I think maybe the longest time was maybe a week. She didn't do what you wanted to be done. And why did she want to do that, Brianna? She wanted to do it because they held her dirty secrets that she didn't want anyone else to see. Because she's been a fraud this whole entire time. It was really weird when Brianna said that on the Now Recording episode when Brianna went on. It always struck me really weird when she said, yeah, I can't remember the exact words Brianna used, but it was basically, yeah, she got done what we've been trying to do. And it's like, no, she didn't. It's actually on the open web now. No, she didn't. Yeah, it's still clearly up, exactly. But it always struck me weird that Brianna, when I think back to that Now Recording, when she called in a Now Recording, I keep going back to Brianna saying that. It's really weird. She did what we couldn't, exact words. Thank you, Ann Stan. Yeah, Medley, it was, well, at least she got Kiwi Farms taken down, and Becca said, but did she? No, she didn't.
Thing. For me, the biggest issue here is the fact that she took advantage of kind-hearted people who donated their hard-earned money to help her out, and they ended up donating money to her when she lied about a whole host of things and did not end up using the money, over $100,000, on the intended purposes. So let's talk about where the money was actually spent. So when it comes to her new place, it turns out that she did pay rent for a new place. I mean, she didn't move for the reasons that she originally stated to raise the money, which was that she was afraid of Kiwi Farms. She moved because she was allegedly emotionally abused by her ex, which, again, don't take anything she says at face value. And so she did pay for rent, though. And she admitted that in the clip you're about to watch.
I'm using the GoFundMe money to pay an entire year in advance.
Now, which is not something she ever said she was going to do, and a huge departure from just moving. Clara moves into a luxury apartment, and with a low approximation amounting to $28,000.
She moves into a luxury apartment and pays a full year of rent up front using that GoFundMe money, which she admitted in the clip that we showed you. Okay, great. She also admitted to using money to buy new streaming equipment for her new place with professional studio lights and everything. She also talked about using the money for her personal security.
I consulted with a security company, and they made all of my devices hack-proof, and they gave me tips on not getting doxxed again. They also helped me with a whole bunch of other stuff that I can't talk about because I signed an NDA, like a non.
Yet she still walked around and told everybody where she was at. She still did IRL streaming and putting other people in danger. You know, because you never know, crazy people out there. You know what I mean? Like what? It's almost like she did it on purpose. I truly believe so.
Non-disclosure agreement. I already hired a lawyer, and all of the information between me and my lawyer is privileged and confidential, and I can't talk about it. So the money towards a legal fund is being utilized, but until the point where I can actually talk about what I'm doing, I can't say anything.
It was the other site that was doxing her so hard. She went after Kiwi Farms because they held the Catboy Ranch information. They had all her dirty secrets on Kiwi Farms. That's why she wanted Kiwi Farms down. Kiwi Farms wasn't the one that was doxing her so hard. It was the other place. Yes, Keffals is a bold-faced liar. Yes, Shark plays 100%.
That's very convenient that, you know, you can't really talk about the details of how you're using that money for a legal fund. Okay. And she possibly used some of that money on drugs and definitely on rehab.
8 days into a cocaine bender, I found out that the coke that I was doing was cut with meth. So for 8 days straight, I was doing coke and meth. Started doing coke and meth and benzos, and I was planning on ordering from the dark net.
After the backlash, Clara went into rehab on February 22nd. In the next few days, I will be admitted to rehab. The doctor said that because of the drugs I'm addicted to, without medical supervision, detoxing will kill me. Now, I'm inclined to believe her on this, given that she didn't return until about a month later. Clara later admitted that she spent more money going to rehab than she ever had on actual drugs.
I was in rehab for 34 days before I discharged. I went to the Addiction Rehabilitation Toronto facility, and it was one of the best decisions I think I've ever made.
While Addiction Rehab Toronto doesn't have prices listed on their sites, aggregators like Recovery.com price a 30-day stay at the facility at 20,000 Canadian dollars. And that is a fourth of the entire dollar amount. It's hard.
Okay, so $28,000 for rent. 20,000, roughly 20,000 for a rehab place. That's 48,000. That's basically half of the money right there. That's basically half of the money. Practically half of the money.
Hard to believe that expense, on top of buying enough drugs to end up there in the first place, had no bearing on how that GoFundMe money was used. One of her mods admitted the habit went a bit into the fund money at the end. However much a bit is, we might never know.
Amazing. And finally, I think one of the most damning parts of this lengthy video that Muta put together had to do with a damning leak from a private group chat that Keffals was part of. She talks about the money that was crowdfunded, what it was used for, and how quickly it was depleted.
This is what I was shown. The first is from a screenshot from a private group chat dated November 30th, 2020.
November 30th, 2022. She started the GoFundMe in August of 2022. August, September, October, November, 3 months. It was gone. By November 30th, it was depleted. She says it right here.
Me too. Feels really bad watching the GoFundMe deplete. The rest will cover a year's rent and my psych fees if I talk to a psychologist once a week for the next 11 months. Ellen tried to comfort me by reminding me that it was an emergency fund. I kept trying to think of how it depleted so fast, and it's just so many little things. Travel and replacing furniture and helping my friends out, buying new streaming gear and clothes.
There you go, right there. I keep trying to think of how it depleted so fast. And it's just so many little things. Travel and replacing furniture and helping my friends out buying new streaming gear. None of this right here had anything to do with your GoFundMe. None of this. Your GoFundMe, you did not tell people that's what you were going to use that money for. And you got over $100,000. Is the GoFundMe still up? Yes, it is.
Clothes. If legitimate, this is an admission that the GoFundMe had greatly depleted after just 2 months.
Did the donors know that Keffals was going to spend the money on psych fees, on streaming equipment, on all these things that were not listed on her GoFundMe page? Of course they didn't know that.
No.
Did they know that the group that Keffals was actually harassed by was not Kiwi Farms, based on the research that Muta did, that it was...
I am so glad that she said this. I am so glad that she said this, because I think not enough people are saying it. I truly believe not enough people are saying it. It wasn't Kiwi Farms that did it. Here's my thing. Don't lie about it. Why lie about it? Why? There's no point in lying about it.
The group that Keffals was actually harassed by was not Kiwi Farms, based on the research that Muta did, that it was a different platform that she, for whatever reason, did not want to go after because she didn't want to draw attention to them because of what they had been posting on their platform. Listen, I feel sick to my stomach knowing that I amplified a con artist on the show.
Ye old loser. Yes. I think you're 1,000% correct. Probably because Kiwi Farms was easier to blame. 100%. That's exactly why. Kiwi Farms was the easier one to blame. Remember on the Now Recording episode, remember Muta, when he was up on Now Recording, he had talked about there was a bigger YouTuber that contacted him and was, I guess, kind of getting on him for quote unquote sticking up for Kiwi Farms. And come to find out that they have something on Kiwi Farms that they wouldn't want anybody to know either. And I honestly believe in my heart that's why Keffals wanted to take down Kiwi Farms.
Obviously, I did not know she was a con artist. I did not do that on purpose. But at the end of the day, I'm the host and I am responsible for what I say on this program. I'm sure some of our viewers, unfortunately, donated money to her out of the kindness of their hearts because they thought they were helping her. And so these are the kinds of stories that keep me up at night because, as I've said before on the show, I feel that I have a responsibility to the audience. And if I ever make a mistake, as I did with this story, I'm going to take the time to correct it and take full responsibility for it. We have made changes in how we decide to cover certain stories now. For instance, we will not be promoting any crowdfunding unless we can vouch for the crowdfunding ourselves, unless we know the individual personally who is trying to raise money.
And to be fair, y'all should have been like that from the very beginning. Y'all should have been like that at the very beginning. I think what happened was the clout that Keffals had at that moment in time. I think people who took in her story was like, well, she's like an internet sensation, you know? She can't be lying, so many eyes on her. Y'all got swept up by that. Y'all were literally marks. Y'all were literally marks. And she hustled every single one of you. And that's got to be embarrassing.
So she could spend the money on all sorts of stuff like a year worth of rent, psych fees, streaming equipment, rehab. If people want to donate money to her for those purposes, that's great, but she should be upfront about it, and she wasn't. She lied to people. She kept changing her story. Streamers stream all day long, so it's really hard to catch those moments when the stories are changing, because if you're an adult with a full-time job, you don't have time to sit around and watch a stream all day.
The sad thing is people were catching it all along, but at one point they couldn't say anything, or you were going to lose your platform. She had so much clout on the internet, you couldn't say one thing to her, or you were automatically transphobic, and you lost your platform. It was ridiculous.
But at the end of the day, like, CNN has the resources to dig a little deeper, and they didn't. And so I'm sorry to you guys. I think everyone who donated to that crowdfund need answers from Keffals, and they should be issued a refund immediately.
I agree.
She immediately responded.
She can't refund them. She's broke. She can't refund them. She can't do nothing about it. She's broke.
Responded to this news and the takedown video, very deeply researched video that you guys should watch for yourselves. You know how she responded to it? She said it's transphobic because she didn't like the thumbnail art that was used to depict her. It's the same type of art that's used in other thumbnails to depict other people.
That she herself used a Vosh in a thumbnail. She used the very art from the very artist of Vosh, and now all of a sudden it's transphobic because it's her. Keffals is a piece of shit. Yes, hashtag justice for Worm, 100%.
The weaponizing, the transphobe thing, not gonna work here. The only bad person in this story is Keffals, who literally lied to people and stole money from them. Those people deserve answers. I don't want to hear anything else from her mouth unless she's addressing when and how she's gonna refund the people that she defrauded.
Yep.
And again, I apologize to our audience. I take full responsibility, and I'm gonna be a lot more careful and a lot more skeptical of people moving forward.
I agree, KB. That's exactly what accountability looks like. And listen, I can understand people saying she's doing it because she looks stupid. The same thing with people are saying the same thing about Brianna Wu the next day on Twitter. She's doing it because she looks stupid. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.